Hello, guys, and welcome back to Between the Ropes TV. Now, we promised you a lot of content this week, and we're not letting you down. We've got a very, very special guest with us, cruiserweight Ricky Reeves. Ricky, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
No problem, no problem at all.
How are you two? You all right?
Yeah, we're good. We're good, mate.
Good.
Yeah, Ricky, I just thought I would ask just for the subscribers watching this at home or wherever they may be. Can you tell us how you first got into boxing?
It's always a bit of a long-winded one, so I'll try my best. So I first tried boxing when I was 20. So growing up through my teens, I was a sprinter. I always wanted to be a GB sprinter. That's my one box that I've never ticked off that I'll never do. But so yeah, that was my thing growing up. When I was 19, turning 20, I had a really bad injury, a hamstring injury. So I did some boxing training to keep fit with a guy called John Keaton. He used to train at the Ingle Gym. And he used to say, you know what, you're really good at this, you should carry on. I didn't. Obviously, I wanted to pursue my sprinting. And then it wasn't until I was 27, I just decided to keep fit and get into it. And again, the gym were like, look, you're pretty good at this, give it a try. I thought, you know what, I'll try. And so far, so good.
Nice one. It's really come together really in quite a short space of time. I know you mentioned there, you know, you were into sprinting, but then you've gotten the boxing to keep fit. There must have been something else as well as the fitness aspect of boxing that's drawn you into it. Was there any, when you were growing up, was there any particular boxers, because of the area that you're from? You know, you would have had people like Nas, all those people coming out from the gym. Was there anyone in particular I thought, you know what it is? It might not be for me at the minute, but I admire this boxer. I admire the way this person goes about their business in the sport of boxing.
Yeah, Nas was always one that I remember growing up. Just obviously the showmanship and everything. I always remember my parents talking about him and stuff like that. But I think obviously there's the fitness side, but there's the fighter side. And going back to when I was about 8, I did the freestyle kickboxing. I used to do a bit of that. And growing up, my dad he did martial arts and stuff. So we grew up on, you know, like Bruce Lee films and all kung fu films.
Chuck Norris
all
and stuff.
That. Yeah. I used to love all that. So me and my brother used to jump around living room fighting each other like we were Bruce Lee and whatever, Jackie Chan. We used to love it. So I think that's where the fighting kind of things always come from. Obviously, then I did the kickboxing. Originally, my mum, when I wanted to start boxing club when I was 12, and my mum said no because she didn't want me to get hurt. So I don't know. Yeah, I always wanted to try it, but then I just wasn't that bothered. But yeah, it said Nas and Bruce Lee.
Nas and Bruce Lee. No.
Yeah.
So you like people with quick hands and
that's it.
Yeah. It's interesting because I did read somewhere that you did have a spell in kickboxing and you've gone into some detail there. But one thing that's always people have always said to us when we've been on camera and stuff, and they've come look at sports like kickboxing, K1, Muay Thai, and stuff like that. But how would you compare the discipline and the training between like kickboxing and boxing? Because obviously there are some similarities and major differences. But what would you say are the two bigger things that you can take from kickboxing into boxing? What are the two similar things?
So obviously when I did the kickboxing, I only had like a brief spell. I had a year or two at it, and I was like 10, 11. Do you know what I mean? So I can obviously, you take away the pad work and the things like that, but it's hard for me to say because obviously you've got people like, I've got a good friend of mine, Dylan Chima, who was a kickboxing world champion as an adult. He'll know way more than I would, you know what I mean, as to what's the differences. I'd say the similarities, obviously, from what I knew was the pad work and the training, but it was more the composure and stuff in the fights. Do you know what I mean? The advice is the same and similar. Probably that for me, yeah.
All right. Interesting. I also want to ask you as well, because I read that you actual day jobs that working in the school.
Yeah.
And I found that really, really interesting, particularly the role that you do. And I just want to ask you, because a lot of, we call them, say, casual fans. That's a term that to use
Yeah,
people like using it, but it gets used. The kind of thing, boxers, that's it. Everyone's full time, everyone's professional. They don't realize that it's a small percentage. So what I want to see is, how do you manage to juggle, being a professional boxer with actually having quite a high status professional job? It's difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult. But yeah, that's one of the things that I try to teach the kids as well. I get asked all the time, like, "So are you?" Because they don't know if I'm semi-pro, pro, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a professional." I'm like, well, if you're a professional and you've been on Sky, why are you here? Why do you work? And you have to explain, like, look, it's not like that. It's not. People think you're a millionaire because you've been on TV, and you have to say, look, you've got to work your way up and all that kind of stuff. But I'm in a bit of a routine at the minute. It's obviously me and my partner, we work in sync with it, so it helps. We've got a lot of family that help with childcare and stuff like that. But how it usually works is, if I'm in camp, I train twice a day. Right. So I'll wake up in the morning at about 6. I get to the gym for 7. I'll do either sprints or bag work or something. Get showered there, and the gym's on the way to work. So it's on the same route. So then I go straight to work. Obviously do my day job until about 4 o'clock, and then on the way back I just come straight to the gym again, get there for our 4 train, and then come home, see my kids and family and whatever, missus, bed, like that for 8 weeks. So it is busy. It's full on. Yeah, it's full on, but obviously when you fight and you win, it's worth it. And when I get big opportunities like I did when I was lucky enough to be on Sky, it's hard at the time and it's not nice, but then your results pay off and it's worth it.
Yeah, and I was just about to come on to that, because in terms experience wise, and I mean this in all term respect. I mean, obviously you're 5-1. You were looking, you think you're still learning the trade. But you got to the final of the Boxer tournament. Considering that, how you described, what your days like in camp, instead of being, training 2 or 3 times a day like some pros can get to do. Obviously you've got your day job. What does that do for your confidence? Because surely you must be like, I'm going through all this, but I can still mix it with the very best prospects in my division. So that must do wonders for your confidence.
It helped. Yeah, it's helped massively. I went into it confident, but obviously it's always in the back of your mind. Look, I've only had 2 fights, and you have people like Ellis who'd had 11. James Farrell had 10, and so even that when I draw him, you think you're going there winning. You do think I'm up against it here, but like you said, I got to the final, and I feel like every fight now, like my fight I've just had on Saturday, I know you shouldn't, but you look at it and say they're not as good as anyone I fought in that tournament.
Yeah.
So it's helped me massively. I said anything that I come up against, and I mean this in the most respect, but like if I do fight a journeyman or somebody like that, I just think, like in my debut I was really nervous, but now I just think that they're not ever going to be as good as what I faced, and I held my own. I had 2 good wins, and then in the final I lost, but I held my own, I'd say.
I thought you were unlucky. I thought you were really unlucky in the final, to be honest, Ricky. And what I would also say as well is, you made that point about if you face a journeyman, you think, well, they're not going to be as good as who I fought, and that's a sign of confidence as opposed to arrogance. Because I imagine one of the things keeping you grounded is the fact that you still got to leave the gym early in the morning and go to work, deal with kids, and then come back and deal with your own kids at home and all your family and stuff.
What? Yeah, I'll never be arrogant or anything like that. I've always said it, like, I've only been in this sport, when you compare it to some people, 5 minutes really. I've only been, I had my debut a year ago. I've been a pro 2 years, so it's like, well, a year. I've only been in boxing 3 or 4 years, so for me to start looking down on people and disregarding them, and we all know things can happen, do you know what I mean? You can always get upset if you take things like this. So I've always prided myself on making sure I train, making sure I do the right things, whether it's against a journeyman or a top prospect. You still got to have that same mentality.
Definitely.
What are your thoughts, Ricky, on like the tournament style? Because we do see some criticism. Obviously, it used to be prize fighter. Box sort of brought it back, and you do get hardcore fans sort of criticize it. But I've got to be honest, I really enjoy it, and the format brings a lot of excitement. But obviously, it's rare to actually get someone's perspective who's been in there and done well in it. In fact, like you say, you went all the way on the night. What are your thoughts on that sort of tournament style?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I've had people say, "Oh well, Ellis had 35 minutes in the final. You only had 7. It's not fair." But I sort of say, "Well, that's what makes it exciting." Do you know what I mean? You get people who are better than others, but then they get less rest and all that kind of stuff. So it makes it exciting. Everyone trains for it. It's only 3 rounds. For me, I trained my backside off for that, thinking I'd be fit, and then it was just an adrenaline rush. It were, I don't know, it was good. I'd definitely do it again. I said that actually. I woke up the next day and I felt rough.
Imagine I would let you with all those aches and pains. But
I was going to say, I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure, but to any boxers out there who are listening, if you do get offered it, it's a once in a lifetime. I'd 100% take it. Yeah, definitely.
And the thing is, Ricky, it's done very well for your exposure. Because people know who you are now. You've been on Sky, and that's Sky's still a big platform. No wonder what people say about Matchroom leaving, etc. Sky's still a big platform.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, but also for your future aspirations as well. I was going to ask you because also your age as well. That you've come into boxing that you are now. In comparison to say somebody who's turned over at the age like 20, 21, in your position, do you feel as though actually you can afford to accelerate your development and your progression in terms of stepping up in fights? Or do you still think, actually, I'm in no rush. I still want to take my time, still want to learn my trade, because at the end of the day, you're in quite an open division.
Yeah. I've said to Ryan, my coach, that I would like to build and learn, but obviously I'm 31, I'm 32 in December. Yeah. I ain't got that time to take as long as I'd like to. Do you know what I mean? I am in a bit of a rush, but I'm still getting the fights in between the learning fights. As much as I do want to try and blow everyone away, that's why like the fight I've just had and the other one, I'm trying to get the rounds in, because that's where I'm going to learn. Obviously, there's the sparring that's going to help me massively, but even amateur-wise, I only had 4 amateur fights. You know what I mean? So it's all still new. But one of the things I did say to him was, we'll take us time and you can progress me however, but if I do get any big fights offered or a boxer tournament comes up, or I'm not scared to lose. Do you know what I mean? If I can give a good account of myself and I get paid well and I come away with a loss, it feels like a win. So that's what the tournament felt like. Like I lost, but you know what I mean? Everyone said I did good and I came away with good money for my family and all that. So if I can keep doing them, even if I don't, do you know what I mean? I might get beat up, but it's still experience. I'd just rather go in there and give it a try than protect my own, if you like.
And it's almost like you're not losing, you're learning.
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. Yeah. I'm going to get in there with people, and I think this is what's helped me as well with my age. I'm a lot more mature than I would be at 21, whatever. I understand that at some point I will lose. I'll come up against someone who's a level above. There's levels in boxing, and I probably will take a beating. But then it's just learning from that, watching it, see what you've done wrong and right and whatever, and you just go again.
Yeah. And I imagine as well, going back to what you do, that mindset and that approach, not just to boxing to life, surely must be something that you must pass on, which would make you quite inspiring.
Yeah. Again, so on a Thursday, so I did it today, I run a boxing club at my school after school. So I've been the head of year 10, and so I was the head of year 9, and you follow your year up. So head of year 9, then year 10, but we've gone down to year 7s now. So I've got 11 to 12-year-olds. So I had about 30 kids, I reckon, who all came to my boxing club. They came last week and this week and they loved it. So it's all the boxing sides. About 10 of them are like, "Oh, sir, I bought boxing gloves now. I've got one to buy. Take me to a club." And we're teaching them the boxing thing, but then it's the little life lessons that I'm trying to teach as well. You know, you know, you've got to learn to lose first before you win. That's the hardest part, and little things like that. And they were constantly asking me questions about stuff like that. So I'm trying my best to pass it on.
No, nice one. I'm sure your family and your employers will be really, really proud of you as well.
Yeah, they love it. My son especially. He's pestering me to come to my next fight. He's saying, you know, he wants me there. I want to be there. I want to be there.
Yeah. Would you let him go into boxing or not?
Get into it or come and watch me.
Get into it, like actually take him to a gym.
Yeah, so he's really into it. So I've got some pads and gloves, and he constantly does it with me. He's at an age now where he tries to fight me for any reason. I get a rib shot, body shot, but he comes and watches me spar, and stands in corner with Ryan. Mm-hmm. So he's into it. You know, he's done he's done quite a few sessions, to be fair, with Steve, one at coaches. His footwork drills, and he's saying when he grows up he wants to be an astronaut and a boxer.
Right, fair enough.
So there is two things he wants to do.
Limit, pardon the pun.
Literally. So yeah, he wants to get into it. I'm happy for him to do whatever. You know, I know he's gonna go through stages: football, boxing, whatever it is. I said I'll let him do it, but yeah, boxing is his thing at the minute.
Nice one. Well, I'm glad you've got an open mind on his development, and it's nice to see him take a real keen interest in your career. Just that, you know, we're going to follow. You know, we've always followed your career, so we'll be continuing to follow that. Nice one, Ricky. Nice one for coming on. Really appreciate it.
No worries, anytime. Thank you for having me
on again.
Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers for having me on.
No, brilliant. Thanks ever so much for joining us. Guys, I'll drop Ricky's social media links in the description, so don't forget to check that out and give him a follow. He is exciting. I think we can all agree. I think Ricky, if he'd worked at any of our schools would have been a much better place for us to have been. So,
definitely.
Yeah,
I would have been in school a lot more.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sat here thinking, hang on, where was these cool teachers when we were at school? Like, they're all missing in action. So there we go. Right, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe as well. We've got great content coming for you. And yeah, join us on the next one.